A lesson in diplomacy. The Australian student detained in North Korea for more than a week reunites with his wife in Japan after release.
From next week, people will start to see the money flow.
Payday. The federal government passes its $158 billion tax cut package. Aftershocks galore. Southern California hit by a magnitude 6.4 earthquake. And 4th of July celebrations are underway under grey skies in Washington. We'll cross to our correspondent Connor Duffy shortly.
Beautiful way to finish it for Ash Barty. She'd be well pleased with how well she struck the ball today, the number 1 seed.
Ashleigh Barty cruises through to the 3rd round of Wimbledon. Feeling out of your depth? Stay tuned for the Friday CONFAB to find out why this clip has been making headlines on social media around the world. Good morning, I'm Andrew Heslop and you're watching ABC News Breakfast. A smiling Alex Sigley has arrived in Tokyo from China to reunite with his Japanese wife after almost a week and a half out of contact in North Korea. The 29-year-old Australian was released from detention yesterday after days of mediation between Swedish diplomats and officials in Pyongyang. His release was announced to Parliament by the Prime Minister, but many questions remain about the case. The ABC's North Asia correspondent Jake Sturmer has the latest from Tokyo's airport.
29-year-old Alex Sigley has touched down here at Tokyo's Haneda Airport as he comes back into communication with the world.
Prime Minister Scott Morrison says millions of Australians will receive tax cuts as early as next week. The benefits come as the income tax cut plan passed through Parliament overnight with the support of 4 of the 6 Senate crossbenchers. Labor ultimately backed the bill in the Senate after its proposed amendments failed, while the Greens voted against it. It means more than 10 million Australians will receive a tax cut of up to $1,080.
This is a win tonight, not for the government, not for the Liberal or National parties. This is a win for those hard-working Australians quietly going about their lives.
A 6.4 magnitude earthquake has struck Southern California. The quake hit near the city of Ridgecrest, about 175 kilometres northeast of Los Angeles. There has been widespread minor damage, with this bottle shop one of the hardest hit. There have been several smaller aftershocks and around 24 reports of fires after the initial quake. Post-mortems have been completed for a group of climbers killed in India. 7 bodies of the 8 climbers reported missing on a peak in northern India last month have now been retrieved. Among them is Sydney woman Ruth McCants. Medical staff have confirmed all were killed by injuries sustained in an avalanche. The rape trial of actor John Jarratt is expected to conclude in Sydney today. The 66-year-old took the stand yesterday. He told the jury he was seduced and did not rape a 19-year-old woman back in 1976. Mr Jarratt has accused the woman of fabricating events. We've got extraordinary storms in the west and also along the east coast, but sunshine in the south and the north. Nate, what can we expect for the weekend?
Still plenty of wet weather continuing for the west, Andrew, especially through the day today, though that'll ease fairly quickly as we get into tomorrow, but showers are going to continue for the east coast. Storms a little bit further north in Queensland and for the eastern interior is likely to stick around all right through to the end of the weekend when things really start getting wet through the southeast. It's going to be quite a wild one.
Thanks, Nate. Now for more on the passage of the government's tax cuts. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg says the $158 billion package will not affect spending on services into the future. Mr Frydenberg says the package is part of the government's plan to tackle weakness in the economy.
We'll continue to spend more on the essential services to grow the economy, but our tax cuts were fully funded, were baked into the budget forecasts, and those forecasts and our budget was ticked off independently.
That's Treasurer Josh Frydenberg in Canberra. Let's take you now to Washington, where Donald Trump is celebrating the 4th of July with an expensive and controversial salute to America. Our North America correspondent Connor Duffy has been out on the Mall and he joins us now from the Capitol. Good morning, Connor. And that's all we have time for. We'll cross back to Washington to have an update on the parade with Connor later this hour. Victoria's Mental Health Royal Commission is nearing the end of its first week, and it's heard evidence of a system that dehumanises people with mental illness and a society which discriminates against them. Mental health advocate and the pioneer behind Headspace, Professor Patrick McGorry, will speak to the Commission today. And he joins us now in the studio. Professor, good morning. Welcome to News Breakfast. Changing gears, Australia's best movie makers are travelling to remote northwest Queensland for one of the country's biggest film festivals. As Anna Hartley has discovered, it's more than just boosting morale in the embattled region.
This is Hollywood.